よかったね。
あ
今日はついていけたの？
あ
エクササイズしたの？
したよ。
So it's no surprise that Trump attorney Alina Habba is going to be asking for that judge to recuse herself. Here's the Trump attorney Alina Habba, cut number 3.
I think she should recuse herself. The problem we have with this system, which is a bit broken in my opinion, is that when you ask for a recusal from a judge like this, who's been involved with Fusion GPS cases, which was the Russia hoax, as you know, who has clear links to Hunter Biden in a law firm, clearly anybody with ethics and sensibility would say, I cannot fairly oversee this case. Unfortunately, the judges themselves have to be the ones that decide this.
You know, it's very interesting. Once again, what we're seeing in the wake, and this is the third set of indictments. First, there was the one in New York against the former president. There are the multiple indictments, charges against the former president with regards to documents found at Mar-a-Lago. And now this one, there could be another one coming involving Georgia. So there could be a total of 4 different venues, all going at the former president. But what has the Democrats and the mainstream media perplexed is that the popularity of the former president just keeps rising all the time. He's up by at least 40 points in some polls against his nearest Republican rival, and that would be the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And so the Democrats just are troubled by this. We found out last week that former President Barack Obama has had a meeting with Joe Biden saying, you better pay attention to Donald Trump because he's a real threat. The question is, and this is uncharted territories in this country, could we have a president, a former president, now running for president again in 24? Could we have a president that could be in prison? Could he be found guilty and in prison? And what happens then? I tell you, if you can have debates about Trump's behavior, his language sometimes, all of those sort of things. But I think in this country, there is a feeling that this man has been under attack by a very prejudiced Justice Department since the day he took office. The whole Russia collusion thing, and on and on. Impeached twice when the Democrats control the House. All of these things, other court decisions that have gone on. But what remains true is it seems that no one is going to be able to offset where the president is. It was really interesting on the weekend. NBC's Chuck Todd on Meet the Press, he was kind of asking the question out loud. What's going to happen? How is it that after all of these indictments, this man remains so popular? Cut number 5.
The Republican dynamic in this primary only changes if there is general election polling showing Trump losing by more than 5 points. If we get to that moment, then all of a sudden the whole idea that he can't win is actually something that voters might contemplate. But right now, the biggest thing that benefits Donald Trump is the fact that it's a tied race. And I always ask this question: does it say more about Trump or Biden that a thrice indicted former president is tied with the current president?
Well, let me try to answer that question posed by Chuck Todd. I think it's a whole lot of both, quite frankly. When you look at Joe Biden's numbers, when you look at the polls, I think it was the New York Times last week, the latest poll from them had Biden down around 37%. 37%. Now, Democrats say if he's at the top of the ticket, they will still vote for him. But the American public, especially on the issue of the economy, Joe Biden is under. He is way under. Democrats probably wish they had somebody else. You know, some people keep talking about Gavin Newsom, who who, by the way, apparently he has agreed to have a debate with Governor DeSantis at some point. That should be very interesting. And I think Fox is going to cover that live. I think Sean Hannity will be the moderator. Should be very interesting. You talk about two politicians with two very different set of values. But, Gavin Newsom earlier in the year denied that he was interested in running for president. Very few people believe him on that front. I think he's very interested in the job. I think the reality is the Democrats really wish there was somebody else beside Biden, and they're really not so hot on Vice President Kamala Harris also. So we have this, we're in this particular situation we've never been in this country, where you have a sitting president who's extremely unpopular, who is blamed for the economic condition of the country. He's out there trying to sell Bidenomics, as they're calling it. And by the way, he's going to hit the road this week trying to sell that across the country, but people aren't buying it. You talk about gasoline prices being part of the problem. Gasoline prices, in case you haven't noticed, have gone up dramatically. Randy, just have cut number 7 ready. Gas prices are up, and Joe Biden is at least partially to blame. All right, when we come back, I want to play you that cut from Stuart Varney of Fox, because he is well aware of who is to blame here. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden went to war against our fossil fuel industry the moment he came into office. Let us not forget that. All right, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Folks, it's about spiritual warfare across this country. Even in our politics right now, it's a set of values. Biblical values versus humanistic values. That's what this is all about. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Want to hear your verdict on that when we come back. You're listening to the Monday edition of The Awakening. Fred sitting in here. We're back to talk to you when we come back.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Matt Ayers, president of Wesley Biblical Seminary. Most Christians only know the Bible at a surface level. We believe it, but do we really know it? I want to invite you to join the Wesley Institute presented by Wesley Biblical Seminary. The Institute's a 9-month program that will give you an in-depth understanding of all 66 books of the Bible taught by seminary professors. You can join live from anywhere in the world or watch the class videos on your own schedule. To learn more, visit wbs.edu. That's wbs.edu.
The loss of a child through an abortion affects the emotional health of families. Feelings of anger, sadness, and regret can be overwhelming, but there is hope and healing in the aftermath. Call the International Helpline at 866-482-LIFE to talk with someone who's been where you are and healed to help others. Your call is confidential. 866-482-LIFE.
It's Truth for Youth Week. Help counter the liberal agenda by getting the Word of God into the hands of today's teens.
There's this girl in my school that always tried to talk to me about Jesus, but I would never really listen to her because she wasn't very cool and she didn't like to party or anything.
The Truth for Youth Bible is given to every teenager who commits to give it to their unsaved friends in school. Over 2.5 million Truth for Youth Bibles have been given over the years.
One day she came up to me and said that Tim Todd was challenging young people to give away Truth for Youth Bibles in school.
Visit truthforyouth.com or call 833-574-1600. That's 833-574-1600. Or visit truthforyouth.com.
I just want to thank you so much because after reading it, I decided to give my heart to the Lord.
Help spread God's Word with the Truth for Youth Bible and AFR.
When I was 12 years old, there was a woman in my neighborhood, and her name was Mrs. Henderson.
This is Focus on the Family Minute, and Sharon James remembers a family in her neighborhood who played a pivotal role in her coming to Christ.
It's my best friend's mom. And I loved going down to the Hendersons' home. It was something different about them. And one thing was that Mr. and Mrs. Henderson loved each other so much. And I had never seen married people act that way. And Mrs. little praise songs when she did her housework, and she talked about Jesus like she knew him personally. Well, eventually I told Mrs. Henderson about what was going on in my family, and we began to pray for my family. I went to church with them.
Here's Sharon's inspiring story of God's grace at FamilyMinute.org.
And welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about another problem for the Democrats and Joe Biden is that gas prices are on the rise once again, up at least 30 cents in some markets across the country. This in the midst of Joe Biden going across the country right now and saying Bidenomics are doing great things for the country. Well, not so. If in any way you're depending certainly on gas to get you from point A to point B, and oil prices are going up, diesel oil prices are going up, and we know what kind of impact that has on delivering of goods. It raises the cost of those goods, groceries, and so you pay more for it when you go to the grocery store. Stuart Varney is an economic analyst at Fox, and he was talking about this morning, cut number 7.
Up goes the price. I blame Biden for at least some of this, because he's the president who said the leader of Saudi Arabia is a pariah.
Right.
Leader MBS, leader of Saudi Arabia.
Right.
They promptly went out and cut production. Biden stopped oil production or reduced it in the United States, so we have to go begging to Venezuela to produce more oil. Right. You cut supply here, you cut supply there, the price goes up. Biden is responsible for at least some of it.
Yeah, I don't think you can call the Democratic Party a party of moderation anymore. There's a story on AFN right now, American Family News. Headline is, Democrats see the radical left policies of Minnesota and Michigan as election winners. And what has happened in those two states, the radical left has taken over there. They now control the legislatures. They now control certainly the governorships there. And we're talking about the governorships in Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz, and in Michigan, of course, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And, they have an agenda, and actually they're going from state to state now trying to sell that agenda. And, what's high in their agenda? Well, of course, abortion is very high. And in both states, abortion is a major, major factor. They want abortion rights. They don't want anything at all to stop those things. They want stricter gun controls. They're calling for free meals for all students in our schools, pro-LGBTQ measures across the board. So that is the Democratic Party of today. It is not the Democratic Party of 30, 40 years ago. So for sure, the American people have a very, very clear distinction between the two parties. And the American people are going to have to decide what kind of country they want. All right, let's go to our phones, 888-589-8840. Well, let's go first to West Virginia. And Mike, welcome to the program.
Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, go ahead.
I think if Gavin Newsom becomes president, he's going to do to the whole United States what he's done to San Francisco.
Yeah, and to California. The whole state there. There's no question about it. He's been trying to, I appreciate your call there, Mike. He's been trying to convince people that he is somewhat more moderate in certain political circles, but he's not. He was one of the most radical governors during the pandemic. And he went after churches to totally shut down their services. When at the same time, he didn't have problems with people going in and keeping, liquor stores open, that kind of thing that was going on. And, of course, Pastor John MacArthur in California fought that battle and won that battle with regards to Newsom's campaign to shut down churches during the pandemic. So, no, I agree with you, Mike. Gavin Newsom is as far to the left or even further than Joe Biden. But he is being talked about, and I think he's a man who wants the job as well. All right, to Texas, and Essence is on the line. Essence, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. The indictments against Trump actually expose the shadow government and all the bad thieves who are serving them. And I think Trump's lawyers and the Constitution and the rights a president has regarding everything that belongs to his presidency, I think will win in court. And I think God has this. Just keep praying, please. And this is why Trump gets more people supporting him, because of the exposure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and a lot of people would agree with you, Essence, is that people are seeing a Justice Department, a rogue Justice Department. I don't think there's any question about that. I think when former President Trump entered office way back in 2016, there were still elements in the Justice Department very dedicated to the Democratic Party. And I think even Trump did not realize how deep the deep state really was. And it's going to take somebody, perhaps the former president, perhaps a Ron DeSantis or somebody else, to go in there, and they need a clean house. That's all there is to it. I think one of the things that's been suggested, I believe, by the former president is taking the FBI, for instance, and moving the headquarters out of Washington, D.C. Get it somewhere where there's some common sense. Elijah in Kentucky, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Good program, sir. I just want your thought about what former President Trump said about John McCain, because John McCain is and was my hero.
Sure.
Was it appropriate to say what he said about our hero, John McCain?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Elijah. I appreciate your question. I think John McCain will be remembered for a lot of different things. I think he'll be remembered for his service to the country when he was in the military, a prisoner of war. I think what happened in the relationship between Donald Trump and John McCain was really had to come down to, as I recollect, it was the Obamacare vote. You remember John McCain? He was in bad health, but he flew back to Washington, D.C., and basically went with the Democrats on a particular vote. And I think that's what happened. You know, we've said it before, sometimes the former president would be advised not to be quite as vocal as he sometimes is in his criticism. I think that gets him in trouble with some conservatives. But John McCain needs to be praised, I think, for his service to the country. But sometimes, you know, even politicians who have a very stellar background, like McCain, sometimes they make mistakes. And I think that can happen. That can happen with any politician, be they Republican and even some conservative Republicans. There have been conservative Republicans like Paul Ryan, who came under criticism when he was House Speaker, that he did not do enough in the initial days to support then President Trump. So we have to be careful. I think we can give praise where praise is due when good decisions are made, but sometimes I think, to be honest, we have to be critical of even Republicans when they will not take a stand for what should be done. But thank you for your call. I appreciate it, Elijah. Jake in Arkansas, go ahead.
Thank you for letting me say what I see, at least from my viewpoint. I don't know why our Republican leaders who have God in their platform, and those even that are rhinos that believe in God, don't come out and say, we believe in God, we have a platform, we have a book called the Bible. Those on the left, they don't seem to believe in God at all. I don't know if we're afraid of losing votes, and that's why we don't say that, but it's almost, it's the elephant in the room that nobody says anything about. And I don't know why we just don't come out and say, we do believe, we do have a Bible, it's called God's Word. Those folks on the left don't believe, they're subjective about their beliefs, and they don't have a Bible unless it's a subjective thing they wrote. I just don't get it, man.
Well, I think what's happening, and it's an excellent point, Jake, excellent point. I think the left is super dedicated to their cause, which is secular humanism, which is in rebellion to God's word. There's no question about it. But I think what happens many times on the conservative side, and whether you want to keep it in the realm of politics or even as Christians, sometimes we are ashamed publicly to say, I believe this and this is why. Because this is what the Bible says. Because we're afraid of those who are going to laugh at us. We're afraid of those who may be critical of us. Sometimes it comes down to, somebody will say, okay, where does the Bible say this? And we don't know the scripture to go to defend what we believe in. But just to return it to the political realm once again, I think in the Republican Party, there is a divide. I think you have Republicans in name only, the rhinos. I've been reading reports just in the last few days that are critical of the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, Republicans that are critical of him for taking a stand and wanting to return schools to actually teaching the actual history of the country. Critical of him for taking a stand for parents to speak out against what's being taught in our schools when it comes to sexuality. He took a real beating when it came to making changes in schools that said little kids should not be exposed to sexual subjects, and that parents need to be informed when these kinds of things are taking place in the curriculum of our schools. He's taken flack for that. But it's that division of values, and it's going to be interesting to see who wins up. But what it takes is Christians not to back down, to take that stand and say, this is what I believe, this is why I believe it, regardless of the cost. That's where we have to be. I think that's biblical. I think the Apostle Paul and Peter and others showed us that. All right, we're plumb out of time, folks. Great to be with you today. Good comments. Appreciate your calls. I'll be back again on Wednesday. I believe Frank Turek may be here tomorrow with you, and I'm sure he'll enjoy that program. All right, have yourself a good day. Stay tuned to American Family Radio for much more great programming. We'll see you again real soon.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association.
90.5 KTXG, Greenville, Dallas. American Family Radio.
You only want to donate to biblically sound organizations. So as a federal or state employee, why not choose the American Family Association Combined Federal Campaign Designation 12037? Of the organizations on the CFC list, AFA is one of the few standing for you and your family. By choosing 12037, you help make it possible for us to continue.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association. American Family News almost immediate. More Russian attacks against Ukraine over the